Good morning, everyone. I'm Sandro, this is Stephanie, and this is Tommy. We are part of a 7-member team. It is a collaboration between Aalto University from Finland and Stanford University. We are working with Volkswagen Audi on the project this year. Our project prompt is to design cabin space solutions for autonomous cars of the future. Let me start by addressing an important question. What is an autonomous vehicle? It is a car that drives itself.
Really? Hello?
Don't be so surprised. They are already existing. The first generation of autonomous cars is already here. And by 2035, each one of you would have your own autonomous car. Imagine that you're in such a car. Imagine that the car is driving you around. You would want to drive the car only if you really have to drive it. Otherwise, the car drives you. You will do a lot of different activities in this car. You can be reading a book while the car drives you, or you can recline your seat and be relaxing in the car. The car might be driving you to work, and you can go up to the dashboard, interact with the interface, answer emails, go on conference calls. If you have friends, family, guests in the car, when the car is in autonomous mode, you can interact with them and socialize with them. You are an Audi user. You want the sheer pleasure of driving and racing around in an Audi at times. So you would also want to shift to driving mode in this self-driving car sometime. Now, imagine you're doing all of these different activities in the current car configuration. Imagine if the current car configuration was a self-driving car. Look at how cramped it is. There is not much space, not much freedom for you to do all of these activities comfortably and smoothly. Also, I would ask you to imagine one more thing. So if the car is driving you around and you have friends, family, guests in the car whom you want to interact with, how would you interact with them? This is how you would talk to them. So one more, and interaction is an issue. Then, if you have to transition between activities, there are so many activities that you're doing. Can you imagine how many adjustments you would have to make in the car? How tedious would it be for you to manually adjust your position every time you're switching between these activities? Currently, autonomous vehicle research is focused on vehicle-to-vehicle communications, vehicle-to-infrastructure communications, and driver-to-vehicle communications in terms of interfaces. We are making our cars self-aware. We are making them aware of the environment around them. Don't you think it's time that we started making cars aware of what's going on inside them? Of you as the user and what you want to do inside the car? That is exactly the question that AudiEVOLVE addresses. Our future Audi user needs to easily transition between autonomous and manual mode. They need an effortless transition between activities, and they need effortless position adjustments. They also don't want to miss out on time of interaction and socializing with friends and family. AudiEVOLVE is a solution for future autonomous cabin spaces that is transforming the journey into the destination. Now Tommy would tell you about our solution.
Thank you, Sanya. So, the vision of the team AudiEVOLVE is to facilitate different activities for the user through effortless transitions and increased cabin mobility. To fulfill our vision, we have designed a cabin layout with one seat in the front and two subsystems embedded into it. The other subsystem is the interactive steering wheel, and the other subsystem is the anticipatory chair. Let's open up a little what are these subsystems. I'll start with the interactive steering wheel. This is the device that the driver uses to interact with the car. In our concept, it's used for 3 different purposes. It is used for steering in manual mode, it is an interactive surface in autonomous mode, and it's a switch between autonomous and manual mode. So what are actually these manual and autonomous modes, and how is the switching done between these modes? I'll open up this little. So in manual mode, the driver is responsible for the driver, just like the cars in cars today. So not much is different, only the design of the steering wheel is a little more futuristic. Now if the driver wants to turn into autonomous mode, all he needs to do is to just push the steering wheel in until it locks. Now the car is autonomous and the car will drive itself. So the driver is allowed to have increased free time in the cabin. So we wanted to utilize the surface of the steering wheel with an interactive display, which could be used as an accurate input method for future windshield displays. Now when the driver wants to turn back to manual mode, all the driver needs to do is to just simply pull the steering wheel out, and the steering wheel is steerable again. With this steering wheel design solution, we have introduced a clear difference between two modes and also an intuitive way of triggering those. We came to this through user testing, which showed us that it's more comfortable to the user if there is a physical interaction with the steering wheel. So the mode change will be more apparent to the user. We also realized that it's also more natural to have pull and push trigger for the mode changes. So next, Stephanie will tell you more about the anticipatory training and how it works.
So an important part of effortless transitions is removing the manual and tedious adjustments needed in a car. So we've created an anticipatory chair which adjusts its movement based on the driver's body movements in the chair. That way the driver can flow naturally between different positions and activities. So we've implemented 3 different chair movements in our prototype. The first one is a 180-degree rotation. The second is a forward-backward sliding motion. And the third one is a recline adjustment. So in order to do the 180-degree rotation, you simply need to shift your weight in the direction you wish to rotate. That way you can interact with fellow passengers much more easily and have more quality face-to-face time. We've also implemented a foot pad. That way the user's feet don't drag across the floor during rotation, but it also serves as the initiator for the forward and backward sliding motion. So the driver would simply push with their feet on the foot pad and the chair would move backwards. And then they would pull with their feet and the chair would move forward, much like how you would use a rolling chair. And the last motion is a recline adjustment. And this is very similar to the other interactions I just described. The user simply pushes back on the seat back and the chair reclines. And when they lean forward, the chair inclines to a more upright position. So how did we do this? We've implemented 6 force sensors underneath the chair, 2 on the chair sides, chair seat back sides for the 180-degree rotation, 2 on the foot pad for the forward and backward sliding motion, and 2 on the center of the seat back for the recline adjustment. Together, this system of an interactive steering wheel and an anticipatory chair really focuses on the driver and what's happening inside the car, what the driver is doing and what the driver wants to do next. Our cars are evolving, and now, so are the cabin spaces. AudiEVOLVE.
So that sort of helps take care of the misfires and such.
And do you guys take care of the acceleration of the car?
Yeah, so
Maybe repeat the question because the audience in the back.
he was talking about, asking about the acceleration of the car and how that affects the force sensors. We did a proof of concept last quarter in which we took our car and had force sensors on the actual chair and measured the values from that. We did in fact see that acceleration did cause differences, but since the car has a lot of sensors built into it, we can actually use those types of sensors to sort of cancel it out, and so hopefully that would be implemented in such a device.
So while you are switching the autonomous drive mode on and off by pushing and pulling the steering wheel instead of using a switch button or any other tools to control that?
So you asked why we didn't use a button for the initiating mode change between autonomous mode and driving mode. So we did a lot of user testing around this, and what we found in observing people trying to go into autonomous mode or driving mode is that they were already kind of naturally pulling and pushing the steering wheel. And we also knew that we needed a really clear difference so people would know when the mode changed or mode would start. And so this physical pushing and pulling really reassured users that the mode had changed.
What about safety? I mean, if you rotate the chair and have airbags and seatbelts, I mean, how does that work?
So you asked about safety?
Please repeat the question.
He asked about safety. So it's not really in the scope of our project. We assume that in 20 years, when these cars would come out, that car companies would address those issues. And if we were to take this forward, that would be the next step.
What's your cup holder of the future?
The question was, what is the cup holder of the future? Well, basically in our product we focused on the most vital parts of the cup holder is for somebody else to design.
And just to add, the focus of our project was really on the transition between activities and not really what is exactly happening in those activities. So now we can design specialized cabin spaces for activities that we really want to. So cup holder is one example, but then you can really be specific and generalize that.
Is your system, did you look at the situation where conditions on the road force the switch between autonomous driving and manual driving, and what that would really mean for a quick turnaround between talking to the passengers and then paying attention to what's on the road?
So the conditions on the road initiating a switch? Yeah, so in driving mode, firstly all the smart features are disabled. So when people are really driving and they have pulled out the steering wheel, then the features are disabled. So it would not do that on its own. And then you can take care of the force response so that it doesn't really, when you're driving, it doesn't go back, push back in during braking. So you can design the internal springs such that it doesn't do that on its own.
Also, this generation of autonomous vehicles won't just immediately turn over control to the driver at any point. We assume that at that point in 2035, that the autonomous car will know when a tough part in the road is coming up and then give you notice.
So it's not, and maybe from the prototype, if the driving position is changed to be more on the center instead of the left side, and whether you evaluated the impact on the driving experience, that's
Basically, we wanted to utilize the possibilities that autonomous cars offer. So, for the first time ever, it's possible to actually socialize with people in the back face to face, and that wasn't possible in the current car. So we needed to remove one seat in order to make 180-degree rotation possible. Plus, we also wanted to have more space in the front in order for the driver to have more freedom in the front in order to use use all the car features in the future.
Thank you.